Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hello, John.
Hello, John.
John Carmack.
John Carmack.
Specifically you.
Mostly you.
Entirely
Almost
you.
entirely you.
Yeah. My name is David Bell.
I'm Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. For John.
Oh my God. What are you?
So you have no idea where he came from?
No idea.
Well,
Here's the deal. People can be terrible about things they don't understand. From now on, the only person you can show yourself around is me.
For John only.
For John only. If your name is not John,
Carmack.
turn this off immediately.
Yeah.
How dare you listen to this and not be John Carmack?
So, John, as you know,
Right.
You paid for a specific Patreon tier that allowed us to make a podcast specifically for you and you only. And it is your choice if you want us to release it to the public or not.
I believe he said he did.
Yes. So you chose to release it to the
You
public.
chose to share your bounty.
That's fine. But we're not going to talk to them.
No, we're just talking to you.
Yeah.
We're just talking to you. So,
You requested that we go watch Bumblebee, and we do
did.
an episode of We Just Watched.
and we watched it. And what did you think of Bumblebee, John?
Oh, okay.
Those are all
Really?
good points.
It's a little racist. Yeah.
Really, really, John, tamp it down. Tamp it down.
Sorry for calling you a racist,
The expletives spilling out of your head right now are out of control. This is we can only give this one explicit tag. We can't give it the 2 or 3 that you're demanding.
John. Yeah, you're inventing
With
words.
the vitriol that's just coming out of your face like a fire hose.
You maniac.
You goblin.
John.
So yeah, we John, you wanted us to watch Bumblebee, and we did.
Yeah.
We watched Bumblebee.
Tom, what did you think?
It was fine.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a solid fine.
It was very fine.
I'm not. This is weird. I didn't hate it ever.
No, I was
didn't-
never angry at
And
this
and
movie.
I was in fact enjoyed it watching it. I would probably watch it again some random afternoon.
It was very deliberately so. It was very E.T.
Yes.
It was very-
I have thoughts about the nostalgia done in it. It made a lot of good decisions. But then it sort of went overboard here
little,
and there.
yeah.
One being the nostalgia is that it takes place in 87.
Yes.
And that's great. That's a good idea for Transformers. I like that the Transformers look like the
Like
old
the toys.
Yeah.
They also play the Stan Bush song
Yeah.
from Transformers the movie, which I believe is 85 or 86.
Right. I want to say that the main characters looked like the humans in Transformers and like the cartoon. Like specifically that helmet, like stuff like that. That felt like it was I want to Google it after this. Like I feel like they look specifically like characters. I didn't mind that. I liked the music, the nostalgia. It went overboard a few times. A few times it felt pandering. Like when the guy is like, I can't wait to watch Elf later. It was like, I get it. We're in the 80s.
And then the family is watching Elf. I'm like,
yeah, just have one of those scenes. Just have them
one Alf.
watching Elf.
Just one Alf joke.
Yeah.
We don't need all the Alf jokes.
There were a couple little moments like that where I didn't hate it. It didn't piss me off, but it did feel like they were very excited that they got to be in the 80s.
They threw a lot of songs at us.
Yeah.
Made a bold promise by putting the lead character in a Damned t-shirt.
Yeah. It was more like generic rock and roll. It was fine.
It was fine.
It was definitely like,
She had Elvis Costello, the Damned,
Yeah.
the Smiths.
yeah, I didn't hear the Damned at all.
Nope. Play a lot of the Smiths.
I think you can afford the Damned too. They're not expensive, I don't think.
They gave us a few. They gave us some Steve Winwood, Higher Love.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
They gave us some Rick Astley.
Yeah, I like that they immediately got rid of that because they were almost self-aware there, where they're like, "Oh, we're not going to do that. That's so pandering." But they still did it.
They still did it. Seemed weird.
I don't know. I definitely wish this had been. It's weird because I like the first Transformers. I like a lot of what Michael Bay did in it. I thought it wasn't too over the top, and I thought it wasn't as over the top as the later movies. And I thought he did a good job.
It was surprisingly restrained.
Yeah, and I thought he did a really good job at showing how crazy the Transformers were as a concept. You know, I think we've talked about it before where the helicopter flies down and it fucking the rotors just stop and it's like very alien and kind of creepy.
That beginning scene where it attacks the base and Cutter.
That's a good scene.
Yeah, with the helicopter. The opening scene of the first Transformers was really good.
Yeah. The reason I bring it up
all
is
downhill from there.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is because I almost wish this had been that movie. Like this is how we opened the Transformers universe.
With this one? Yeah,
because this had a lot more heart and a lot less irritating characters while having sort of because it's Sam Witwicky in the first one, but a lady, and like I like them better.
Yeah, it's Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
who just kills it in True Grit. And
oh yeah, oh good for her, getting paid with Bumblebee.
Yeah. I believe that she sings the end credit song too.
Yeah,
so she's like all in on this movie.
Wait, on this movie? Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not like I don't have anything against Shia LaBeouf really.
It wasn't his fault. I
mean, I think he said some racist things.
Yeah,
while he was drunk.
I just mean as an actor.
But as like an actor, like I'm not that opposed to him, but it's like
I wouldn't hang out with him. That's
no,
for sure.
Like this movie is so much. It's not mean-spirited.
Yes,
it's never mean-spirited.
Which is the big thing that's
the problem with Michael Bay. Yeah,
I will say Michael Bay, when it's not mean-spirited or racist, Michael Bay has more fun with characters. Where when Michael Bay has like a convenience store clerk in a movie, in any other movie, you tell the actor like, so just say your lines and we'll have you out in a day. Michael Bay walks up to them and he's like, do you do any weird voices? What do you got for me? Like every side character has bits.
Right, like the convenience store clerk who in Bad Boys who has a whole bit where he says, first I blow you and then I blow you.
Right. I want to say that one's pretty racist. So it's again that. It's like
it's very racist.
Yeah, it's the spirit of the idea of like, let's give these side characters a lot to do and make it fun. Is great, except racist. I keep talking about Michael Bay, about Bumblebee, but the reason why is because again, it felt like it's all the same components of the first one, but like the parents in this, they were pretty good. But I wonder if it's like I kind of like if they were just over the top, or like the scientist in this one. He's good. It's fine, but John Turturro being a maniac is better. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's better.
Okay.
I disagree.
Okay.
Because that's where you start to fall into the groan-worthy moments where it's like Sam, it's like Kevin Dunn, and I forget who his mom is.
Right. Oh,
they're just fucking aliens.
I guess. And I guess when I'm in the first one, I didn't mind that. It gets so bad in the later movies, but like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Like this movie,
they're kind of insufferable.
Yeah.
It's more like I like the spirit of that, not the execution in the actual movie.
So I think this is the better execution.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because they are entertaining, and her mom was great.
Yeah, that's Pamela Adlon from Better Things, and also briefly on Louie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give... It's definitely more tolerable characters all around.
Oh yeah, I didn't hate anyone.
No,
even fucking John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena. For a while there, for a while, he was the only comedic relief of the movie.
Yeah.
It was like, really? John Cena's gonna like he's the one carrying this?
Yeah.
Like, what a bold idea.
John Cena.
He was like that first scene with him. He's just like doing a bit. And
Yeah.
It was like, Jesus.
Just shooting the guy over and over again with a paintball gun.
Yeah.
It was really hard not to just burst out in the Jim Ross was it's John Cena every time he's on screen.
That would have been amazing.
Oh man, Cena.
Yeah. He was, I want to see more of him.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah. You pointed out in the theater the part where he's trying to restrain her and he's having trouble. It's just like,
she gets away from him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so John Cena is having trouble restraining this 109-pound woman.
John Cena really, he doesn't do much in terms of heroics in this.
No,
I mean,
well,
it's
he's
sort
not,
of the point.
He's kind of the bad guy
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
Like the military teams up with the Decepticons.
Yeah.
Although he does have a great line in that boardroom scene where he's like, they're called the Decepticons. That's not a red flag for anyone.
Yeah. Again, comic relief John Cena. What the fuck?
It was fine. It worked. You can tell that the movie was made by a person who is already versed in effects films because it's Travis Knight of Leica who did all the Coraline, Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, those are great. John, if you haven't seen the Leica films, check them out.
Yeah, John, this is all we're talking to you, John Carmack.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen him, go see him, and you don't think about it because they're animated, but they're stop motion movies.
Yeah, and they're gorgeous.
Particularly in Kubo, when they have the giant sword golem that was the size of a warehouse room.
Right, that thing was fucked up.
Those are special effects movies.
Yeah. I would have, and this goes for.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying you can tell it was made by somebody who is familiar with effects, but also with characters.
Yeah. And the CGI looked good in this.
Yeah.
I would have liked. I've always wanted to see animatronic Transformer used in a scene or something.
Yeah.
Not because I think it would be a good
I want to see what that is.
Yeah, but it is true. Out of all the things you can CGI, metal is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just make it CG.
And they never.
And he definitely. There was a lot of character stuff. There was a lot. Not that much action, which I really liked. There was a point where I was like, this is a delightful film about this girl and her dead father fixing up cars. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just make it this? And then Bumblebee shows up, and it's like, oh, okay, right, sure.
Well, then
then they get into all sorts of antics, and it's like, this is delightful too. I didn't want Decepticons to show up. I wanted it to be that's maybe the army, and that's it. Like E.T., basically.
It's the E.T. because it's the same thing in E.T. where the dad is gone, and and he's Elliot's sort of latching onto E.T. to fill that void, and she's doing the same thing with this robot.
Yeah, which they didn't have to be so on the nose.
No,
the picture of her and
it's the same picture.
Yeah, she's just replacing. I was waiting for her to just push the picture slowly.
Well, she has
view of her dad.
She has a picture of her dad by her. It's a an 8x10 by her bed, and she has the same photo as a Polaroid in the garage. And that's not how that works. Sorry, I don't want to nitpick, but I'm nitpicking.
That isn't how that works.
That isn't how that works. But so she has two of the same photograph of her and her dad, and then she gets one of her in Bumblebee where it's
the exact same composition.
Kinda.
Yeah, and
it's
then,
a selfie.
And then she just puts it right next to it. They didn't need to be so on the nose. The diving stuff. I feel like you could take all of that out of the movie. The diving. I get that it was connected to the father. I didn't hate it in there. But it didn't. It felt like it felt like a producer being like, we need to make sure she has an arc, and so then they just stuck this arc sort of in there, where it's like, oh, she's too scared to dive because it's linked to her father, and then she dives at the end to save her new dad, Bumblebee.
Her new dad, her robot dad,
yeah.
My robot father.
Which probably to the most baffling part of this movie to me, is why is she like, we can't be together at the end?
I don't know.
I think
also, where's he going?
Right. Well, that's the thing. As I could see it as simple as Bumblebee or someone being like, "Look, they're gonna be coming for me.
Yeah,
we can't." Like Bumblebee should be the one who'd be like, "I'll be right here," and and fuck off. Mm-hmm. That's what it should have been. She dumps him at the end. which was just kind of, it was a weird decision that it's like there's a million reasons they shouldn't hang out.
Right.
They could have used one of those, but instead she breaks it off, the one person who would absolutely want a robot car because she's a human.
She's a dadless human.
Yeah, like any person would be like, robot car, let's be friends.
I want this forever.
Yeah. And then Bumblebee leaves her.
It leaves her by the Golden Gate Bridge
by the
to
ocean
walk home.
To walk home. She does.
And when they cut to her walking into her front yard, and you can see the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. It's like, that's like 30 miles away. You couldn't have dropped her off, Bumblebee?
It's so weird.
So I don't know if you thought that was weird, John Carmack.
Yeah.
But the diving stuff was, I don't know. I didn't hate it.
No, I didn't hate. That's the whole thing about this movie is I didn't hate anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was,
and like I said, like this is a successful movie to me. This is a movie that if someone's like, "Should I see this movie?" I'd be like, "Sure." Do you like fun thought? Like, there's not much thought in it, but it's a very competent movie.
Right? There's not much. You don't really have to think much about it, but it never calls you an asshole for watching it.
Yeah,
and it's never mean-spirited about anything it does.
Right. If in the right time, it would have had the Logan effect, which is of course where the X-Men films, which I enjoy the X-Men films, but they're kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And then Logan was like, "Here's a competent film," and everybody's like, "The best film ever. Why hasn't it been nominated?" And it's like, you've just you forgot what it's like. Your standards have been dragged down.
Right. You've been watching 12 years of shitty X-Men movies.
And that's what this is too, is like, I don't want people to watch this and be like, "This is amazing." It's like, no. I mean, it's a really fun film. I recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
John.
It's fine.
To you,
John.
If you haven't seen it.
Which of course you have, because you're
or maybe this is why he asked us to do this.
Yeah. I mean, let's hear your thoughts, John.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, and totally, like if we hadn't, I kind of think it would have, I mean, I get like both sides of that, where it's like, you don't want people to see this movie and be like, "Oh, it's incredible," just because the other Transformers movie, but I also feel like nobody's seeing it.
I was about to say, and they didn't. Yeah.
There's been it's been 10 years of shitty Transformers movies, just not only like badly made, but just like bullying,
mean,
racist, offensive, mean-spirited in every possible way.
I watched
Transformers
the last one.
movies.
They got to the end of the last two, because I watched the Anthony Hopkins one, and then I watched the one before that. Like, can best describe those as incoherent, where it's like I watch them full through, and I'm just like, that was just noise. Like, I don't know what happened or why anything happened.
Yeah. The Transformers movies are gross, like in every possible definition of that word.
They're so loud and awful, and they attack every sense, which is why this is how they should have started or something, because this ends with like kind of just a fist fight between Bumblebee and two other Transformers. It's small scale, and they knew that's where they were smart. It's like they knew that about the other ones. Mm-hmm. Like they knew we needed like a detox, and they knew that it was very smart of them for them to look at the other Transformers and be like, that boy in his car. That was the story that was drowned out by everything else. Mm-hmm. So let's go back. Let's fucking detox from that shit, and let's find, like, that's out of all the Transformers stuff. I think this is the problem with a lot of movies, is you have to find the human character element of the story, and you start from there, and then you can do action and shit. So like, like Jurassic Park, it's like a guy who doesn't like kids, bringing these kids, and then we have our human element. And this is the same, where they were able to look at the Transformers and be like, "You fucking idiots, you have a good story right there. It's E.T. with a car, and then let's start there and build from that."
Yeah, I remember too, like that was a lot of complaints from the fan community about the first movie, where it was like, get those people out of it. We want more Transformers. There are barely any Transformers in this movie. And it's like, in the second one, it's like nothing but Transformers.
Right.
And it's like, no, we do need the people, because otherwise I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like, it's just noise.
It lost control when there were scenes when it's just like two CGI robots just talking to each other. When it's those moments where it's just like, the Decepticons are coming, and there's these booming, terrifying voices, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening?
Like metal lips, and teeth.
Like there should
Why
always...
do they have lips and teeth?
Yeah, I don't know why are they vehicles?
Why do they speak English?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter.
No, none of that matters.
This movie opens in I thought, a good action sequence, which is
it's fine.
Just all of them on Cybertron. And like they're already like planes and cars, and it was like,
like, who
this
cares?
is the cartoon. We're doing the cartoon.
Yeah.
You know?
I cannot hear Optimus Prime's voice. Like, it just makes me laugh immediately as soon as I hear him start talking.
When they're in the woods, because Optimus Prime shows up finally in this movie.
Yeah,
he's like he's in the beginning on Cybertron, and then he's a hologram. And when they're walking through the woods,
and he's talking about
and he's like, "Good job, Bumblebee."
Yeah.
And I'm just imagining like rabbits scattering, like just the ground vibrating on that voice, because it's like as loud as a horn.
Voice. Yeah.
He is. I'm gonna say. I'm sure I've said this before. I think Optimus Prime is the funniest character ever made.
I can't look at him and then listen to that voice. Like, I can't handle it every time. Like, there's some people camping in that woods. They're just like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's 87 in the like in the redwood forest in California. They're probably filming like Willow out there. So there's like a movie, a production team out in those woods. Like, you're just talking. The rest of our friends are coming to Earth, and I can't hear that voice.
Oh shit!
It is ludicrous.
He is the most inconspicuous, or least conspicuous, or most conspicuous character. Because it's like, okay, let's break it down. He is a truck. He is the least, like the most unwieldy vehicle. That cannot.
The least subtle character of all time.
Can't make tight turns.
He also has
very loud,
a comically tiny head.
Yes.
For the rest of his enormous body.
His voice is booming and deep.
He looks so ridiculous.
And he is bright red.
Yeah, he's red. He's fire engine red. He's got this giant arm cannon, just like, just anything he says.
Right. Which I'll give the first Transformers credit, because there's a scene where he's trying to hide them.
Yeah.
And they knew, like, okay, yeah, you can't hide Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
He has, and that's the other thing about Optimus Prime, is I feel like if he was told not to, he would just casually walk through homes.
Yeah.
Like, just demolish them.
Yeah.
Like, he's not self-aware.
You can't be self-aware and speak with that voice.
Truck. That's another thing I liked about this. I liked how they did the villains. I liked that the villains, number one, I liked that they killed humans. I know this is for kids.
Fucking kill humans.
Yeah, I know this is for kids because they shoot the humans and they explode into goo. And that goo should have been red. It was clear, but it should have been red. That would have been
the
delightful.
fact that it was clear was almost
it's almost more haunting.
Off-putting. It's like, oh god.
But I like how
what is that?
Yeah, I like how they handled it, where they land and there's a guy fighting with his wife, and they don't care about the humans. They're ignoring them, and then one of them shoots the guy, and he says, "I like how they pop."
Yeah, I like. The villains are done very, very well, and there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
One, there's only two.
Yes.
That's one of my main complaints with the previous series.
Of
right, it's just I have no idea who the fuck is who in those other movies.
They have two different colors.
Yep.
Yeah. We're good to go.
And they all look like, I can't stress this enough. They all look like like they have Soundwave in the beginning. He just looks like Soundwave from the cartoon.
Yeah, this was smart of them to do that.
Yeah.
Because in the Michael Bay movies, they all look like these weird spiky aggro crag
and they're all the same color.
Yeah. And so it was like, okay,
I don't know what any of these are.
Yeah, first basic mistake of making a Transformers movie, just make them look like the cartoon. And then being like, well, it's silly. It's like it's gonna be silly no matter what.
It's Transformers,
Don't
guys.
gritty it down.
Yeah.
Second thing is make it in the 80s because that's what the cartoon characters were based off of as cars from that time. Like, I think these were some very basic things that the Michael Bay movies failed completely on.
Oh, yeah.
That this gets right.
If your favorite Transformer is Cliff Jumper, I'm sorry, I've got some terrible news for you. He gets hacked to death on one of the moons of Saturn.
Yeah, he sure does.
That poor bastard.
Yep. Most of this...
I was saying the villains... there's only two of them. They have two distinct personalities.
Yeah.
Like the Lady Transformer, which... Cool.
Yeah, nice villain lady transformer.
Is clearly the brains and is more like, no, we can use these humans and use their infrastructure and everything. And the other villain is just a maniac.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to kill everything.
Yeah. Which is great. He's like a little kid with bugs. Like, that's how they treat us, like bugs. They talk in front of us about ruling the galaxy or taking over the world because it doesn't
matter.
Inconsequential.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. Okay, we're going to blow you up.
Yeah, it's like they know we can't fight them or they don't think so. They invent the internet, which
they do invent the internet.
Was a nice thing for a villain to do.
Yeah, very villainous thing to do.
It is thinking like, oh, thanks guys, thanks for my job.
Oh yeah, at the same time. Yeah.
But it's true. Yeah, they do it to hunt down Bumblebee, which I'm not sure how that works, but it does.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. The plot points don't matter.
Not super much.
They fit.
Like
they
the Decepticons briefly team up with the military to track down Bumblebee.
Yeah.
And they're both planning on double crossing each other.
Yeah,
like John Cena and the Commander are like, yeah, as soon as they finish giving us all this technology, you can go ahead and kill them and scrap them and use that internet that they're building to track down the other robots and kill them too. And John Cena's like, yeah. And then of course the Decepticons are like, well, we'll use their satellites and junk to find Bumblebee, and then we'll just kill him.
Right.
Like, so they're both planning on rolling on each other as soon as they can.
They let him beat Bumblebee in their garage.
Yeah, he's like chained up like Riggs and Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
they're just like pummeling him,
just watching it happen.
Like, oh, all right, this is what they're doing, huh?
The military is not put together. A teenage girl breaks into the army base, in like a minute.
And her weird friend.
Yeah. She just that was one of those moments where it's like, okay, that's outlandish even for this. She like breaks through a fence of an army base and then hard cut to her like right outside
directly outside
torturing an alien. I'm like, I feel like there'd be more security there.
Like, what is this?
It's an alien car. Like it's 3 alien cars.
She cuts through this high voltage fence with bolt cutters.
Yeah, and
her buddy's like, how'd you know the fence was off? She's like, I didn't. And they just never address it.
Yeah.
Why was the power off?
Yeah, or like,
don't know.
Does she have a death wish? Like
was she just planning on, it's like, I can't stand being without my dad anymore? They don't address that.
Yeah, none of that mattered.
No, it doesn't matter. It's just a weird thing. Like, just don't even have it be electrified then.
Yeah.
Like, why even do that? Like, if you weren't going to address it, I don't know.
It's weird because they knew that what mattered was the broad strokes, the action, and the characters being interesting and relatable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't care about too much of that.
No, there's a couple of weird wrinkles. The bullies I could have done without.
Yep, didn't need the bullies.
Although we do get. I laughed really hard.
Okay, I want to
scene.
I want to tell you this scene in general because the movie's going in a certain direction at that point, and you see how it's going to go. Is she has to hide Bumblebee and all that, and we're going to have like some nice adventures with them. She gets bullied, and her friend is just like, we should get revenge, and the movie comes to a screeching halt for a weird toilet TPing a house sequence, which was delightful, but it was great. So jarring that it was suddenly like them like it just like hard at this point. She's like, Bumblebee, you can't, like
nobody can see
no
you.
one can see you're a robot, and then like she gets bullied. Hard cut to like Bumblebee just out like
in the street,
huddled in the middle of the street, just like TPing a house, and it's like, what the fuck?
And they egg it. They give him eggs.
So weird.
So he goes and he cracks it over the bully girl's BMW. He smashes all the
rubs
eggs
it
together
on.
and just like rubbing them.
And he's so happy
and
with
he's
himself.
Like, he's just like coating it in there, and they're like off in the bushes like laughing, and then he starts just gleefully smashing the car.
It's so good.
And dancing on top of it, and like I fucking lost it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was so funny to me.
It was pretty fucking
Just
funny.
This robot, because he's so like he's gleefully doing it.
And then when he has to hide, he tips over the car and hides behind.
He sure does.
That was a great bit.
Yeah. And then it leads him on a high-speed chase with the police.
Yeah, with the cops.
Like, Bumblebee loses his mind for about 10 minutes.
He does.
In this movie.
He turned to me and he's like, he's going to rob a bank next?
Yeah. He's
Because
going
it
to take
was
him
like
to a liquor
he
store
goes
and
on
rob a liquor store.
He goes on a brief crime spree,
Yep.
bringing along children. Because, what happens? The cops try to pull him over and he's like, fuck that.
Yep.
They're not taking me alive. They're not taking any of us alive.
We die together.
They did good bits of them in the car when it transforms. They show. There was a really good shot at the end, I thought, where she gets out of the car, and it's from in the car, and she's talking with the door open, and then you see everything around the camera start transforming within the car. I thought that was a really good shot.
Yeah,
Sorry, that was just...
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in it.
But yeah, fucking crime spree.
Yeah, Bumblebee's just like, fuck it.
It felt like they needed time
Pigs
to
never
fill.
pulling me pulling me down. Yeah, it's... The movie kind of does go in circles in the middle.
Yeah.
Like it
It doesn't know what to do. But I'm fine with that because it was either that or versus like blow up Chicago. Like
yeah, and I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm glad they just did.
It was very contained.
Yeah.
It was very small scale for a Transformers movie.
So I like that they were trying to just do a buddy comedy at that point.
Yeah, they're doing E.T.
Yeah.
And the climax is not city in danger or whatever. It's
they could have easily blown up the Golden Gate Bridge, but they didn't.
Yeah, it's just two evil robots trying to use a cell phone tower.
Yep.
To send a text message to the Decepticon army.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I the small scale. Well, it was that thing where it's small but large scale, where it's like they're trying to make a phone call. That phone call will be devastating.
Yes. But it also kept because it would have been a mistake when they first get to that showdown scene. Bumblebee puts Charlie is her name, puts her in a dumpster.
Right.
And it's like, no, you got to stay here because you might get hurt. And it would have been a bummer had she not participated in it in the finale.
Yeah, I'm glad they. Well, I kind of assumed. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you assume like it's she's gonna do something, but because of the scale of it, like it was much easier and more believable to have her intervene in a helpful way.
Yeah, because she is helpful.
Yeah, she like takes the antenna out.
Yeah.
Whereas in one of the Michael Bay ones, it's like always this cataclysmic robot fights. It's like realistically, what the fuck is Shia LaBeouf gonna do?
Right.
Like
he's just gonna go whoa 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 whoa
yeah.
whoa whoa and run.
No.
Yeah.
Just run.
He never does anything in them really. He usually, the Michael Bay ones I always thought it'd be funny if like in the second movie, Shia LaBeouf just gets squished and Optimus Prime just looks at him. He's like, "Oh damn," and then keeps going. Like. Yeah, like they're just
wipes it off
because they do not care about their human. They say they do, but they like in the second one he like comes to his college and is just like, "You need to help us," and it's like, "Could you? I'm a fucking college kid. Could you find anybody else?
Literally anyone else."
Yeah, and so like I love that in the Michael, and they just throw them around like they're like rag dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's better about that. But it does seem like it's like they befriended bugs.
Yes.
And if one of us dies, they're just like, oh, well.
We're kind of like dogs to them.
Yeah. They don't have souls anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
A couple of things I wanted to address.
Sure. Are you listening, John?
Yeah, John.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
John. The violence. It turns out it's going to be violent, weird robot violence no matter what.
No matter what you do.
And that's fine. I get it.
I guess I don't
It's
understand.
fun.
I don't understand the impulse to do it.
Well, I think it's like, how else do they do it?
Just fight.
Like fist fight?
Yeah, they're not ripping each other in half in the cartoon.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
I
fucking
think
beat
it's
each
just-
other up.
It's the
Like, why?
modern. I don't know.
It's weird to me.
It's fun to imagine whenever they're fighting, two naked guys fighting because they don't have clothes. And so it's just like two naked guys stabbing each other with pieces of their own
with their
bone.
wrist bones shooting out,
just ripping each other apart. That doesn't bother me too much. Here was the weird thing. This movie does attempt to be in the timeline of the Michael Bay movies.
It does it in a way so that it could or couldn't be.
Yes, it's the story of how he figures out. Bless you. Sorry about that, John.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay. Bless you.
I'm never apologizing for that, so don't even attempt to get me to be sorry about that, John.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, so timeline.
It's about like they do why Bumblebee talks through the radio. They explain that, although it does feel like at the end of the first Michael Bay, they just give him his voice box back, and then they realize by the sequels they're like, well, we can't do that. Everybody loves this, but like, there's no reason he can't just.
Right.
Get a voice box. If he can speak through a radio, I'm pretty sure he could use that same technology to just speak.
Yeah, you'd think.
Like it's not a like it's like we don't have voice boxes on our computers and they say all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Like he just needs a speaker and he has it for the radio. Doesn't matter. They do the it takes place in the Hoover Dam. They show the government coming out of the Hoover Dam, which is from the first one. But it doesn't quite work because then they would know about Megatron, because in the first one the idea was Megatron is in the Hoover Dam. And so
I thought he was in the Arctic.
They find him in the Arctic and they keep him in the Hoover Dam.
That's dumb.
That's the first one.
That first movie is real stupid, huh?
Yeah. So I feel like they shouldn't have bothered, because the other thing is in the first the Michael Bay one, they explain why they try to explain the plot holes, which is cute but dumb. One of the things they show the robots come down, and they're like generic robots, and then they see vehicles and scan them and become them, which we see Bumblebee do in this.
Yeah,
I really liked that, by the way, where he passes out by the lake, and you see I like that his point of view is also the 80s, like the tech.
Yeah.
And he's scanning desperately for some sort of camouflage, and then lands
he's like
on
a
the
VW, a microbus.
Right.
He's like, nah.
Yeah.
Not that.
And that was a good way of doing it. And then, the reveal of him at the junkyard. But, so I guess my point is, if in this version, they're on Cybertron and they're already
he's like
vehicles.
A sports car on Cybertron.
Yeah, so none of the timeline makes sense, is my point, because Bumblebee crashes down in the first one, too. So I guess it's a long way of saying it's a reboot. It's not the same universe.
Yeah, it could be if it can be in the timeline if you want it to be.
Well, it would require Bumblebee and Megatron to leave Earth and then forget about Earth.
Yeah.
And come back to Earth and not have any idea what Earth is.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is like if they have come in the 80s, then the first one just doesn't work for that reason. And that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Right, because I'm not trying to preserve
exactly, the integrity of
the Transformers cinematic universe.
Yeah. So, I think this is a reboot, a soft reboot, because they make Bumblebee look like the Bumblebee. He's the only recognizable thing from the Michael Bay films, right?
Just because he becomes that Camaro in the end.
Yeah. Well, he also, like, when he's transformed, he looks... Like, Optimus Prime looks different in this than he does in the
Yeah, he
Michael
looks like
Bays.
the toy.
Yeah.
And even Bumblebee in this one looks like the toy.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But, I'm
trying to think of... Yeah, it was just weird. Like, they might as well make it a soft reboot, but in terms of the actual first movie, it doesn't match up. Which, again, not a weird complaint.
Who cares?
Yeah, who gives a fuck? I like this one so much better than all of the others combined.
Right. It's also not 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was important.
It's a reasonable length.
Yeah, it wasn't just screaming at me for 3 hours.
Nope.
Oh, God.
This movie's
I wasn't exhausted after watching it.
No, this movie's 2 hours.
Yeah, I walked out of it just like...
That was a film.
Yeah,
that was the appropriate length for a film.
Yeah. I don't know who was... All right. Here's a question. Who is it for? I
don't
think
know.
Probably for people like us.
I think
remember the 80s and have the nostalgia. I think they were trying to get young girls also.
I think they were trying to get a younger audience in general.
Yeah.
Because I think Transformers had pushed people away so hard. Like, this is a fun anecdote. My mom took my niece and nephew to see a Transformers movie because all she remembered of Transformers was when my brother and I were kids. She was like, oh, this is a cartoon about like robots from space. This is fine. She could not fucking believe what that movie was.
Yeah.
And she saw one of the middle ones too, like the third or fourth one. She was like, "Oh my god, what is this?
Why is this?
It's like so not for children.
Why is this violent in the length of a David Lean film? Like, why
is this violent and racist?
Yeah, and an epic. Like, what happened?
Yeah,
those movies. We should be studying those for ages.
The police should be involved.
Yeah,
somebody needs to be arrested for those movies.
They're the most. It's mostly. I mean, that was mostly the fault of overseas audiences, specifically China near the end, where that's where it's still making money. But I assume The Last Night didn't, because I like that was one of those series where as long as it was making money, they were going to keep making those fucking movies. They cost like $200 million each, maybe more.
At least.
They were making okay money, and they were just like a weird assortment of like, I think it really was for overseas audience, where it was just like, here's actors you recognize. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what's being said. Mm-mm. And here's just a bunch of fun noise. Mm-hmm. Take some drugs and go into the movie. You can be 30 minutes late. You could leave 30 minutes early. Doesn't not matter.
Merlin is in the last one. Fucking Merlin and Harriet Tubman are in the last one.
Anthony Hopkins he's delightful in it. He has a robot butler.
Of course he does.
Yep.
This one, I think this is more of what my mom expected when she took my young niece and nephew
movie
to this. Like, this is like more in line. This is a course correct for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely more.
I can see the executives.
Yeah.
I can see the executives being like, okay, we've lost all goodwill.
Oh, God, yes.
With every demographic, although we've never marketed to young girls, because why would we? And they're like, okay, I guess let's try them. Like that, like it feels like they went for a new demographic to try to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot like, boy, the way those movies treat women before this.
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
There was moments in this where she's like, I just turned 18. I'm like, I'm so glad Michael Bay isn't directing this.
Oh God, it would have been.
Like, I know what this would have been.
There would have been some arrests.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. It's a good lead character. She has an actual relationship with her mother.
Yep.
Like the
nice
women aren't treated like shit in this movie.
With her stepfather.
Yeah, he's just a goober.
Yeah, but they do a good job with her accepting. I like how they did that. The parents were like out of touch with their gifts, but you can still tell they're loving. Mm-hmm. They're like trying, but they're not good at it.
Yeah.
Him giving her the
smile book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yep. Yeah. It's
definitely good, John. I mean, like it's not amazing or anything. But
no, it was very.
It was a very entertaining film.
Yeah, like we said at the beginning, it's very fine. This is a fine movie.
Yeah,
it's totally fine. It's an acceptable film.
Yeah,
it's entertaining. It holds your attention. It's never mean. You don't feel like you've wasted your time. You don't feel bad after you leave the film.
No, I didn't feel bad. And I almost drifted off during it, not because it was boring, but because I was just feeling very comfortable. It was that where it was like, this film feels like a movie I'd watch on a Sunday afternoon and doze off to, because it's just like, this is like a delightful middle of the road film.
It is very it's very E.T. It's very much a throwback to those kinds of movies that we made in the 80s. It feels like it is for kids, but it still has a little bit of
there was someone who brought their kids. I didn't think the kids didn't seem interested. I think it's for a little older, a little tweenish.
Yeah.
Because like if young kids, it's just like violent robots and then talking.
Yeah, a lot of talking. It's definitely more for
kids who like care about, who want to start paying attention to the characters.
Yeah.
And not just
But it doesn't have it definitely reminds me of 80s Spielberg. where it's like
it wasn't shot that way.
It wasn't shot that way, but it definitely, in terms of subject matter, it is kind of a whimsical adventure, but it doesn't have kid gloves on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like people explode.
Yeah, people
and,
explode.
Like, the stakes feel real.
And it was definitely like the director. I mean, he had done stop motion up to this point. It definitely felt like it was shot in a way that was pretty. It was competent, and the action it made sense, but there was nothing too special about the way it was shot.
No,
which I didn't mind because we didn't really need that.
We don't need it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't. Yeah. So overall, I'd say like tone down the '80s a little bit, and
I mean, have fun with it.
Have fun with it.
You get to make a Transformers movie that takes place in the 80s. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, have fun with it. But
I guess I just mean they didn't need too many nods to the 80s. The music was a good idea.
Yeah.
The character, she was I liked her as a character because she was like this like rock and roll girl who worked on cars, she had a character. She had just lost her father. They did a good job at like immediately kind of establishing her and making you like her and be on her side and be like, oh, she's cool.
Yeah.
And they did a good job at her being like bullied at work, because that was one of those things where it was like, whenever there's a character like that, which Spider-Man, the second Spider-Man,
Andrew Garfield,
yeah, where it was just like he's getting bullied, but he's so cool. This, like, they put her in an environment where it's like, yeah, you would be bullied in that environment,
right? Yeah, 'cause she has to work at it's like Magic Mountain or something.
Yeah.
Wear a dumbass costume and sell corn dogs.
Yeah,
so,
she did not handle those corn dogs safely. If you notice, she stuck one in the fryolator, and like her thumb was like touching the metal on the side.
Yep.
I was like, that
Don't do that.
is not on.
Of course not.
Well, yeah, that would be an insane decision.
Yeah.
If they're like, look, we really want you to.
We really want to capture the realism of you shoving a corn dog in a deep fryer.
We got this boiling oil here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, John. I don't know what else to say about this movie. What do you?
Yeah, I had another thought, but
okay. Let's get it all out for John.
I think I might have lost it.
Sorry, John.
There's a Bumblebee watches a VHS of The Breakfast Club a few times. That was a fun little thread.
That was cute.
You also
at the end he gets saluted and he does
the fist pump. The Judd Nelson fist pump.
They paid that off. There's a lot of little things like that.
They also you see in the VHS bin. They also have the Big Chill. So
right.
I was sitting there like, Big Chill, come on. Come on.
Stay, watch
the Big
movie.
Chill, you cowards. Yeah. Have that robot put on the Big Chill.
I'll give this props for the high diving thing. It all kind of seamlessly fits because they do that with her father. It's the last tape. And then she has to do something at the end. So they're like, let's have her climb the tower to unplug the thing. And then it's like, well, how is she going to get off of the tower? And some writer must have been like, oh, she fucking dives. And they're like, well, how do we get water? Like, I don't know, is there a nearby dam to break? And they're like, there can be.
There can be.
Which was kind of insane. But it all sort of fit together in a way that you don't...
I
didn't think
it didn't telegraph
it. Yeah.
So it just sort of... as you know, as we're thinking about it now, we're like, no, that's convenient. But like every movie's convenient.
Yeah. So it's as
like,
if they are being written by a person.
Exactly. So it's like, it fit together nicely without... Like, again, this movie never calls you an asshole for watching it. It's not like, you get it? Like, it's just sort of there. Like, in the beginning, it shows us her throwing out her dive trophies. And they don't belabor it as, like, a thing.
I do remember the moment she does that, I was thinking, like, she's going to dive later.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I was just thinking...
Oh, really?
I was just like, oh, they're showing us that she's... rebelling and rejecting who she was.
Yeah, that's what made it good, though. Yeah, because it's the best type of exposition is when you think you're watching it for one reason and then it turns out to be for another.
Right.
Which I was like, that's why I like the paying off of The Breakfast Club, because it was like, oh, we've seen that twice and here's the third time.
Yeah.
And I had not saw that coming. I thought they were just sprinkling that in to be like, look, it's the 80s.
Yeah,
but then
it was a fun payoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course he plays "Don't You Forget About Me" as he drives off.
Yeah,
and lets her walk back home.
Yeah.
When it happens in the theater, we both had the same reaction. When Bumblebee destroys the first Decepticon, it is completely unclear what happened.
Oh yeah, okay. I think I sort of know what happened. The idea is that he threw the chain at him, and he transformed around the chain. So he's like, the chain's like in him, and then Bumblebee yanks the chain, and he goes coming apart.
Okay.
That's a cool idea, but it wouldn't happen. The chain would break.
Yeah. Of course it would.
It would be cool if they did like metal cable. You could tell like they had a really cool idea there of like, what if he transforms around a cable?
And it didn't work. It wasn't clear.
Yeah,
like I didn't understand what happened.
Yeah, they could have done that better. I thought that was a really cool idea. Just it wasn't executed.
Yeah, we didn't have the information we needed.
Yeah, it
what
took
happens,
me a second to figure it out.
John, I'll refresh your memory real quick. What happens is
if you've seen it, John.
If you've seen it, John Carmack.
John might, I don't know if he
might
has
be
little
waiting.
Johns or other Johns that he's going to show this, bring this movie to, if he's waiting for our
Just
review.
only watch it with Johns.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because of course it has John Cena.
Yeah.
He throws the chain up into the Decepticons' helicopter blades, and it gets like tangled up in, and he falls down in his human robot form, and then says, "These chains can't hold me." And then Bumblebee just rips him. He like pulls the chain, and the dude just flies apart and explodes.
Yeah.
And but I just kind of looked at Dave. I was like, I don't understand what just happened.
Yeah. And yeah, neither have I. And I.
It's like, don't understand why that happened.
Yeah.
That was really odd.
It was a weird sequence.
It was weird.
Yeah, again, I get it now. It was just like,
Sure.
they could have done it better in some way.
Yeah, I needed to understand that more.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. That's fine.
Any other thoughts? You are able to see John Cena, so don't let his trademark catchphrase fool you. You can see him.
This is true.
He is very visible.
He's a pretty visible guy.
Yeah.
What did I do his friends at the beginning? Oh, they got blown up, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's a good idea, because they have him do a little like buddy back and forth with a guy, and I thought like, okay, these are our military characters. And that actually scared me at first, because I was thinking of the Michael Bay Transformers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need the military too much in this. But then they're just highly motivating him.
Right, they're giving him a reason to really hate.
Yeah.
To really be after Bumblebee.
That's one more thing, and this is a weird fucking comparison. The one thing I will say, absolutely, the Michael Bay Transformers did better.
Yeah.
Is them landing. I thought the sequence of them landing in the Michael Bay Transformers was really neat.
I don't remember it.
It's like more quiet, and they're not these big flaming balls.
These
They're still like
fireballs.
meteors, but they did them landing in neat places. Like one is a baseball field, and it like smashes through the stadium and then hits
Of course it
the
does.
middle and stuff. But it's not. It's like shot from a distance, so it was like it's almost kind of like a peaceful sequence. Like it's funny because they do it of like the heroes are here, but they're crashing into the earth,
Yeah.
so it doesn't quite work. But and then one of them crashes into the pool, and the little girl comes out and crawls out. I guess my point is that it's a weird thing because I didn't watch this and be like, they need to show that better.
I need to crash
Yeah.
through some shit.
I don't know why they need to be meteors. Was that in the cartoon?
I don't remember.
Can they just land?
Don't know.
Okay.
Been a while.
Oh, because it's still they're trying to be canon. I think. They're trying to be the. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meteors. Transformers.
Transformers.
Robots.
The nerdy neighbor is briefly reading a GoBots
Right.
book, and then
That's
he
cute.
throws it into the bushes.
That's cute. We haven't even talked about the love interest because he was fine. I just
fine.
didn't care.
Yeah, and I'm glad they didn't force it.
Yeah.
Like, they actually turn it into a joke at the end where he
Yeah.
tries to hold her hand. He's like, "No, we're not there yet."
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was good.
And he's perfectly
Makes him
fine.
take off his shirt. A little something. Something for the
A
ladies.
little something for the ladies.
That was a
Yeah.
good bit.
Yeah. It's a good bit.
Yeah. It was a fun film.
It's
It was a delightful film. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was fine. It was fucking fine.
It was fine. And that's a lot. That's
That's
saying a lot
saying a
for
lot
a
for
Transformers movie.
It is the best Transformers movie.
Easily.
Yes.
Easily the best.
By a long
Transformers.
shot,
Oh,
yeah.
By leaps and bounds.
Yeah. It is.
Like, this is an acceptable film.
Yes.
It doesn't make you feel like you need to take a shower after watching it.
Yeah. It's kind of
So that's
Thanks, John.
That's
I guess.
that's it, John.
Yeah, John. Thanks for letting us watch this.
Yeah.
You could have had us do something worse.
Uh-huh.
You could have had us watch a way worse movie. And
You
you're
could
like,
have.
watch this delightful film.
Yeah,
And
watch
talk about it.
Watch this film.
So I really appreciate that, John.
Right, yeah, you could have made us go see, I don't know, Escape Room.
Yeah, although that might be good.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not gonna find out for a while.
Mm-mm.
I'll see it on streaming.
Yeah.
On the stream. See it on the stream. But
See
he could have
on the stream.
Yeah, he could have made us watch like what is it, Cannibal Holocaust or like something really awful. And be like, yeah, go watch this fucking movie, and he could have made us watch it twice. He could have done like twice cast. Where
I want you guys to do
two
2 podcasts about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
So yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you for telling us to watch Bumblebee.
Yeah, and thanks for listening to this. I hope you're having a great day.
Yeah.
In your car or wherever you are. Maybe you're showering.
In your VW Bug or Camaro.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd be showering. That's the last place you'd listen to a podcast.
You can get radios that work in the shower, bro.
That's true.
Bro, it's 2019.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can listen to your casts.
Shower.
You can
John,
cast some
while
pods
listening to this.
while you're cleaning yourself.
Yeah.
Cleaning yourself off. While you're showering from watching a Transformers movie.
That isn't this.
That isn't this one.
Yeah.
You can listen to this and then be like, oh, I should watch that Bumblebee. That's like a good movie.
Ooh, John, when you're an old man, you should listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're old, when it's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And remember what it was like to be young.
Yeah, and listen to our voice.
We'll have been long
Listen
dead.
to it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fuck. But like, yeah, we'll be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be in your heart in the future.
Yeah.
You got to do that. Set a fucking phone alarm.
Yeah, give yourself an alarm to listen to this in 30 years.
Yep.
When Dave and I are but dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember.
Cinders.
Just charred skeletons on a moisture farm in Tatooine. Yeah. Listen to that. Bump this jam.
Yeah.
You got the touch. Yeah.
Do we have anything more to say? I'm not going to plug anything for John. He knows where to find us.
He knows what's up.
This is just for John.
That's what's up. If you want us to do a podcast for you, check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
If you're not John.
Yeah, but it's John.
It's
we
John.
Don't have to.
We don't need to tell him that. He knows.
He knows exactly what happened.
He knows what the score is.
He knows why we're here.
He knows what's up.
Yeah.
He's going to go rob a liquor store with Bumblebee.
John, do it.
Do it! All right, we're going to stop.
All right. See you, John.